What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcast for Rafa Spars, and coming to you with another great installment of the Grappling Hour. I hope that you guys are having a great day. I am having a fantastic one myself. I can tell you this started with training, and now we get to do an interview. And yes, we don't always do them live, but for special occasions, we do bring our little live program to your eyes and ears, and we hope that you are having a great day and want to join us for some lively discussion because we're here for a good cause. And I'm going to get to it in just a second. What's up, TJ? Hello back to you. Thank you so much for showing up. Just a couple quick little reminders. If you guys like the show, give us a like and a subscribe at the Grappling Hour. You can also head on over to our patreon.com. Normally, when we record our interviews, you can see our interviews 30 days before anybody else. And you can find us at patreon.com/grappling hours. So for just $5, you can see that. And for an extra couple dollars, you can see our premium content that is not available anywhere else. That includes tape studies with the athletes themselves, where we break down their matches from the UFC, from major grappling organizations, Bellator, PFL, whatever they're competing at. We basically analyze it with them. There's also a segment called Roast Raf, where people roast my competition footage. And for whatever reason, that is our most popular segment. But we also do extra bonus episodes that we don't put up on any other channel. So that is Grappling Hour on your Patreon. So go find us there. In addition to that, you can find us on Spotify and on our Apple podcast page. And if you want to continue the discussions that we have here on this show elsewhere, you can also always find us at Discord at Grappling Hour. All right, let's get to why we're here today. We're here with the pal. This dude has been raising funds and money for a long period of time, but he has been an active competitor. He has been a longtime friend of the show, and every time he is about to make major announcements for Operation Knockout, he sends out the bat signal. He lets us know that something big is coming down the pipeline. And when that happens, we decide to go live and say what's up to him. So we're bringing him back on the show today, and we're very happy to have the returning friend of the show, John Valentine. John, how are you doing, sir?
Good, Raph. How you doing? Good to see you again. You're looking very thin. So I don't know.
Thank you.
Your training must be really paying off. You look great.
Thank you. That's very nice of you to say. I would tell you this, though. I think it bodes well for the extra rounds of wrestling I made the guy I was training with do. Because I was like, hey, guy, this is a face that goes on internet television. Got to keep ourselves looking as young as possible. But you, sir, you opted with the sleeveless today. So what prompted that? Is it just that it's hot out in Vegas, or did you want to intimidate your opponent here?
Well, that was really the idea. I figured, the person that I'm going to be seeing here, I figured if they saw a few tattoos, I don't think they have any because I don't even know if they like needles. That's probably the case, or they can deal with blood. Hopefully they can deal with their own blood on November 2nd. But other than that, I just, I figured there'd be a little intimidation factor.
That's fair enough. How many tattoos do you have?
Not counting the one of your name on my small of my back, I think I've got about 7 or 8. Yeah, other than that one.
7 or 8. I mean, but they're sizable ones. So you didn't just get like the little like smiley face or anything. No. Like you went all in, sir.
Yeah, like if you can't tone it, you tan it. Same thing. If you cover the muscles with the tattoos, then you can pretty much make up for it as well. So,
So Greg, I have to ask this before we start bringing in friends here. What is new with you? Because every time I see you, we usually kind of bring it back every like November is a big month for you, but every September something big is happening. So what have you been up to this past year, sir?
Yeah, so I've been training, been heavily involved in the board, a lot of life changes, bought a new home, all those good fun things. But just moving life along in the way that it should, and most importantly, just getting centered. It takes about a year to get these events planned, on the books, organized, and then the grassroots effort. Really, your show has been instrumental in helping us raise to date over $50,000 just for myself alone. And then the whole organization has raised over $600,000. And I'd like to say you've been a critical component of that. You've put the word out there that, just because it's grappling, submission-only grappling, that we can make just as much money as some of the MMA fights. So.
Well, that's very kind of you to say. I'm happy to play a small role in this, but I would tell you the $50,000 is no small feat. Like, that's an incredible amount of money for an incredible cause. So it's very easy for us to work together and to help bring out more attention to it. When you say these things are a year-long process, as a guy who also produces jiu-jitsu events, you're not kidding, sir. Like you are making the time right now, but that time evaporates the closer we get. How difficult is it to be somebody who balances being on the board while also still serving your own training and trying to be as prepared as you can be as an athlete?
Yeah, I would say this year it's been tough. There's been a lot of things going on. I would say my opponent, who you're going to meet in a second, is someone I respect, lives and breathes on the mat. He's actually an instructor as well, high level black belt. So I think he's going to have probably an advantage in that respect. I know who this person is, I know what their strengths are. So he's going to have a little bit more mat time, but I still have a lot of other things that I do and train and that he doesn't know about, that coach knows about, but coach doesn't necessarily talk about, which you'll meet coach in a second as well. But I just wanted to clarify one thing. I haven't raised anything. I've been a vehicle to help raise that money, but the ones that raise the money are the people that are watching this, the family and friends of the military, the friends of the military, the people who buy the tickets, the people who donate the money. They raise the money. I'm just simply a vehicle to get an opportunity to go out on one special night and put out a show.
Well, I think that's an excellent transition because you were mentioning that you have a coach here, and I'm intrigued to meet him because I have questions. And obviously, it's been a minute since I've trained over at Zenith, but I would love to hear what your coach has to say about this because he is going to be interestingly conflicted on this one, if I'm not
Yep.
too
And we
mistaken.
haven't made the announcement yet, so when you're ready to, we can. But yeah, coach will have more insights than myself, more insights than my opponent, arguably the most critical insights of the entire event or the fight.
Well, since we're signposting that so well, why don't we go ahead and bring on your coach? Why don't we bring on one coach, Greg Caltech? Greg, how are you doing, good sir?
Oh, I'm doing amazing. How are you today?
Very well. So, okay, Greg, I don't always get this opportunity. I would like for you to try and summarize as best you can the essence of John Valentine, the grappler.
Oh man, John is there's two different Johns you meet. You meet the John that's in class and full of questions, and I mean he asks more questions than a white belt. It's pretty amazing actually to be at his level and still have that wanting to learn and learn and learn. He gets the fact that jiu-jitsu is not a destination. Once you get a black belt, you just start learning about all this, right? So to have him on the mats is refreshing. But there's the other John that as soon as he steps into competition mode, he turns into a completely different person. So this is going to be really interesting to see how this all plays out. But yeah, there's two different sides of John that you'll meet. When you meet him on the mat, he's humble, he's great. But when it's game time for John, and he doesn't give a shit who he's competing with. So it's pretty cool.
I'm going to go the reverse way now. So, John, what can you tell me about Greg, the coach?
Yeah, so Greg, the coach, is a consummate. So you know what servient leadership is. I think the word is completely overused because people don't embody it. Servient leadership says that they believe that they're truly there for others. And a lot of jiu-jitsu academies, a lot of jiu-jitsu schools don't emulate that. It's bullshit. When you come in, they want you to buy all their shit. They want to be, they want to be called yes or no, all that stuff. We still do that out of honor. But Greg is a consummate high level, third degree black belt, decorated Pan Am medal. So he's got all the accolades, but he steps on the mat. He is extremely difficult. He pushes you to different levels, but he is a servient leader. So he is there for one reason and one reason only. Fight for You Jiu-Jitsu is there for one reason and one reason only, and that is to serve and to bring the sport, the beautiful sport of jiu-jitsu, to fruition. I will give you one story. When I moved down here from Utah, I was a brown belt, and I sat at brown belt under Drysdale for almost a year with no stripes, and got my ass kicked pretty much every day. And I wasn't looking to quit because I wasn't getting stripes. I was looking to get quit because I was physically getting my ass beat every day by purple belts and people of lower belts. And I stepped off the mat. I grabbed my shit. I ran into Greg on the way out, and I said, I think this is my last day. Like, I think I'm going to fucking hang up jiu-jitsu and find something else to do. And through that counseling and through that servient leadership and through that coaching and partnership and friendship, Greg got me to stay and said, this is less about you quitting and more about you putting in the work so you're not getting your ass kicked. So let's fix that equation, and then the rest will take care of itself. So that gives you an idea of what Greg's about.
Strong words. Greg, is that how you remember it as well?
Yeah, to some extent. I mean, you know, it's always hard for me to be recognized because I learned a long time ago, you know, this from higher level guys above me, that this isn't an ego sport, right? Like you have to really drop your ego at the door, and the more humble you are, the better you get at this. So I remember that day. I remember just talking to John. I saw how distraught he was, and I could recognize myself in him because at brown belt, I was ready to quit too. Like seriously, white belt, you talk about it a lot because it sucks, but when you start getting further along up the ranks, it gets harder and harder, right, as you progress. And man, I remember being a brown belt feeling the same way John was. So when I saw him that day, I recognized it immediately that, man, I know where he's at, and I hope he doesn't quit. So I did what I could do, and hey, it worked out. And he's still around. He's still got his black belt, and he's first degree, you know, and he's still rolling. So it worked out. It's a good thing. So.
John, from your perspective, how fulfilling is it that he did come back and did go through that black belt process? Because sometimes you make that speech and they're there for another month. Maybe they stay for 6 months, but making sure that you end up getting your black belt is a testament to the environment that you must have been fostering.
But you, is that for Greg? Yeah, this is Greg.
Yeah, that's for Greg.
Yeah. So I don't. Again, I don't look at it that way because here's how I look at jiu-jitsu. So many people help me to get where I'm at, right? And I feel like it's an obligation once you receive your black belt, once you earn that black belt, that you need to give back. Like, you know, there were so many people who took time for me. So if I could be a tool or a small piece of the puzzle for John to get his black belt, I think it's amazing that I get to be a small part of it. But really, the kudos should go to John because he's the one that had to put in the work. He's the one that had to make the decision not to quit. And, you know, there's probably a lot of variables, too, he's not talking about that went along with those decisions. But to be a small part of it, it feels really good, you know, that I could be there for John. And we've had this friendship for as long as we've had. And that's what it's about, right? You know, long-term relationships, and not only on but off the mat as well. So it feels good. But really, kudos to John. He didn't give up that day. You know, he could have quit. And we probably wouldn't be sitting here talking today. So,
Raph, I would say too, you meet a lot of instructors and they seem like really good people, but then you get to know them off the mat and you're like, this is the guy who's, you know, a douchebag to his kids. And Greg is a salt of the earth family guy, really loving person off the mat, for a guy to give you the last $5 out of his wallet if you needed it. So those elements make me lifetime committed to him, to Robert Drysdale, and those things. That team loyalty goes a really, really long way. You know, goes a long way. I get that level of support now with my soon-to-be fiance, Christina Gruber. How are you doing? I hope you're watching. But yeah, so we get that love and support by people around us that matter.
That is pretty amazing. And, you know, I mean, there's something to be said about a lot of us who end up doing the sport. There is a lot of us that kind of comes through and it almost feels like we understand it because maybe we did sports as a kid and we kind of say like, oh, this is how you do your pay it forward. Like, this is how you make sure that service continues to go on. So it is something that I think a lot of us who have ever had a good coach or a mentor, we think to ourselves, the only way this continues is if you continue the chain. So I think it's a credit to everybody. And I think that's part of the great of this, of what you're trying to do, which is you're trying to also ensure that other people can see that you're passing it along. And I'm sure people are passing it along in their stead, Greg. I would like to ask this, though, if you wouldn't mind. You know, we always like to ask people how they got involved with jiu-jitsu. So even though we're here for other causes, I'd love to know, how is it that you yourself, Greg, got involved in jiu-jitsu?
All right. I'm going to give you the full honest answer that I don't really give anybody. If you want my honest to God truth, I was way overweight. We had our second child, and I started training at this gym that had a jiu-jitsu studio or academy inside of it. And I was watching UFC and stuff, and I'm like, you know, I'm 34. I'm going to be a UFC fighter. That's really how I got into it. I thought, man, I could still do this, right? At 34 years old. So I'm walking by this gym as I'm going to sit on the treadmill, and I'm running on the treadmill. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to do this. I want to go do that. I've been a fighter my whole life, not like a trained fighter, but as a kid, I got in a lot of fights. You know, just grew up like that. Pretty stupid, but anyway. So that's why I really joined up, because I really thought I had a shot at, you know, going to be a UFC fighter at 34 years old, and that was quickly smashed in about the first month and a half, 2 months. I realized, yeah, that time has passed for me. Like, you know, you got to get into this at a little bit younger age if you really want to do it. So that's the real reason I started. And I actually put on Muay Thai gloves first and started training jiu-jitsu a little bit on the side. I knew I had to have ground game, right? But I was really more involved in the stand-up. And as soon as I put a gi on, though, I put all my Muay Thai gear away, I think for about a year. And I just fell in love with the gi. So that's the true story. I've never really told anybody that. A little embarrassing, you know, 34 years old. I had these high hopes of I'm going to go be on the big show. But it was quickly diminished. You know, I realized, yeah, that time's passed. But I'm glad that's what motivated me to get involved in jiu-jitsu, because, man, it's changed my whole life. My whole life is not the same, or never would be had I not gotten involved with jiu-jitsu. So that's the real story about how that all came to fruition.
Okay, now I'm curious, because you can't just say that and make me think that's the only version. What is the version you're telling everybody else then? Because you were nice enough to give us the exclusive, which thank you. What's the version that you're selling to other people? Are you just telling them, like, you know what? One day, Helio Gracie found me and he said, my son, you are here. Do this. Like, what is the version you're selling to everybody else then?
No, that's, you know, it's kind of one of the same. Like, I did grow up fighting a lot as a kid, you know, street fights. I always got picked on a lot as a kid, you know. I don't know why. The way I looked, people didn't like me. I don't know. So I've always been involved in fighting. And I just, when the UFC came out and I really started getting into it later on, I mean, it'd been out for a while, but I really started following it. I just love fighting. Like, I don't know how to explain it. There's just some things that you just, you know, are ingrained in you. And so I wanted to get in shape and I wanted to fight. So that's what I tell everybody, which is not far from the truth. You know, the dreams of being a UFC fighter doesn't really come out too much, but the fact that the grappling aspect, the martial arts aspect, and one of the biggest things was I used to watch boxing a lot in the 90s, right? Mike Tyson, all that, huge fan. We used to do the pay-per-view fights and we'd have everybody over and we'd watch boxing. And when they trash talked a lot, it kind of turned me off. So when I saw these MMA guys back in the day beating the crap out of each other, literally going to war, bloody, and when it's all over, they're hugging each other and they're like super respectful and they're bowing to each other. I'm like, man, I want to know what that's like. I want to be a part of that, because the absolute respect that these guys show each other is amazing. And that's what happened to me when I first started training jiu-jitsu. I remember this one guy, I don't remember his name. He's about 130 pounds. I was 265 at the time. And I'm rolling with this guy and he's literally just tossing me all over the place. And I felt bad because I kept laughing. It was like, oh my God, how's this guy doing this to me? And I kept laughing and I kept apologizing. But at the end of the round, he literally bows and says, thank you. And I'm like, thank me? Like, you just ended up kicking my ass for 6 minutes, you know. But it took me a while to get that, you know, that fighting aspect, that respect comes from that iron sharpens iron, right? You know, you do battle with people on the mat, and without them, you're not going to get any better at this. So I found out what that respect is all about, what it feels like, and why, you know, why the guys do it, you know, why they have so much respect for each other. And that's what really drew me to this whole aspect of MMA, jiu-jitsu, you know, all that stuff. So watching that respect that warriors have for each other after they literally try to beat the shit out of each other and just, you know, come together as brothers afterwards, it's pretty amazing. So that's what drew me to it. And I got locked in ever since. It was like a drug for me. So, and here I still am, you know, so.
I mean, I'm willing to bet that that's the fostered environment that you create when, say, you have a good open mat, because essentially, I'm sure you have it the same way, which is at open mat, at some gyms, it is a war zone, or sometimes it is crazy, or no matter how crazy it is, but it's always in good competitive spirit. And the next thing you know, this same group of people is at Korean barbecue, or they're out getting a drink together. So in a good way, I think it is something that you probably knew. You could see the future of your team probably getting together and having those great moments. But I will tell you, there is an added benefit of having somebody who has the version that you have for your history, which is that you know when that guy walks into that room and it's their first day and they're like, I want to be a UFC fighter. And you go, okay, bud, come here. I got you, man. Don't worry about that.
Yep.
And I got to tell you, it is one of the hardest gigs because as somebody who's never fought, I just like to tell people, I'm like, maybe I'm not the coach for you, but maybe I'm somebody who can give you a little bit of knowledge given the people I do know. And I always like to tell them this. I go, if I give you this much of a problem, it does not get easier from here, my friend. You're going to go into people who are far better than I am, who will beat the shit out of you for real.
Agreed.
Well, Greg, I do want to keep you around for a little bit, but I did want to know, where are people training with you, sir? So where is home? Where is the gym that you facilitate?
So we're out in Las Vegas. We're in the northwest side of Las Vegas. It's Drysdale Fight for us. We go Fight for us for short, but Robert's still heavily involved with my gym. Of course, he's my coach. I wouldn't be sitting here without, a mentor. John talks about me as a coach, but Rob's been there for all of us. He's a great guy, so we came to fruition with Rob and Team Zenith, and I'm super glad to still be a part of it. I mean, we've been open almost 8 years, and Rob's been nothing supportive. So we started that gym because there was a need for it out in the Northwest. So we're at like Ann and 95 in the Las Vegas area, Northwest. And yeah, man, it's a good time. And we're lucky that I got started with Rob. I brought it to him. He didn't want to do it, and he ended up supporting me to open the gym. It was never in the cards for me, but here we are. And we're a different mix of people out at Fight for Us Jiu-Jitsu. We've got families that train together. We got a lot of entire families that train together, and then we have some people that are just hobbyists. They just want to hang out with some people who do jiu-jitsu. Some of us, Ian and a couple other people that train at the gym. Ace Van Patten, he's another one of the black belts. He's got goals, to hit some world championships and stuff like that. So at Fight for Us, Team Zenith, we have a different mix. So, if you want to come and go to war, you can come and go to war. We got guys that'll go to war with you. If you just want to come and drill and hang out and, whatever your goals are at jiu-jitsu or MMA or whatever it is, that's what we try to match. If you want to just get in shape, cool. If you want to be a world champion, we can help you do that too, hopefully. So
that is super cool. Now, Greg, again, I'm going to keep you around, but I think you know what's coming up next, and maybe the audience doesn't quite know what's happening. So I'm going to return back to John here because there is an unusual spin as to how we're doing the reveal this time in terms of John's opponent for this particular venture. Before we do the reveal, without giving anything away, what do you foresee for this event? Because it is unusual, and it will be fun, I think, when audiences hear how this one got put together. But just from your perspective, what are you feeling about this one?
Oh, it's going to be exciting. I can tell you right now, I know both these guys, not trying to give too much away, but it's going to be a good fight. I'm excited to see it, put it that way. And I, without saying too much, I've seen John train his opponent. I've seen him train. It's going to be an exciting match. It really is going to be an exciting match because both of them, like I said, this other guy's the same way. Once they get into competition mode and it's for real, they become different people. And so I think it's going to be exciting. I'm so hyped up for this fight. I can't even tell you. I've watched a lot of jiu-jitsu matches. I've watched a lot of ADCC, stuff like that. It's all cool. But this one's really exciting for me, because John's there and, of course, his opponent. But I think it's going to be fireworks, to tell you the truth. I think it's going to be great.
John, do you have any response to that before we get to the reveal?
My finger, I don't know if you can see my finger, my deformed pinky finger. You see it?
Yes.
That is from my opponent that I'm going to announce the fight. That is never healed. So I have a deformed pinky finger. So I'm going to fucking take it out on his ass.
Fair enough.
So
well, I think there's no better time than perhaps now. So, John, what can you tell us about your opponent?
I'm actually not going to announce him. I'm going to let Greg announce it, but I'm going to tell you this. It is someone, there is not a single person on the planet that knows me better, that knows every move, every trick I have, and I know every trick that they have. And I fought this person before to a bloody draw in Texas, where I raised $4,000 for charity out in Texas. Slapping each other, choking each other on the mat, just doing some stupid shit. But nobody knows me better, and I pretty sure I know him better than anybody knows him. So I'm going to let Greg make the announcement.
Oh, okay. I think that's Greg. Is that news to you? Did you know that you were going to be making this announcement, sir?
No, I didn't, but that's all right. Whatever John wants to do.
All right,
I'm
Greg,
game,
I'm going to put the camera fully on you. Go ahead and tell us who John will be facing on November 2nd.
Okay, so give you a little backstory. Both of these guys know each other well. John is not lying about that at all in any way, shape, or form. I've actually watched them go round for round and talk shit during it the whole time when they're training, because they're actually, coincidentally enough, Ian's one of my black belts, and he trains on Team Zenith. So these guys are both on the same team, which is completely crazy that they're going to do this, but they're going to do it. So like Rob used to tell us, you get to the finals with one of your teammates at IBJJF, he's like, you can do what you want, but I'd fight if I were you guys. So they have no problems fighting each other. So he's one of my black belts. Great guy, super technical at his game. It's been an amazing journey to watch him grow. Even over the last year, I've got to watch his game change. The last couple times, actually the last 2 years, going to ADCC and watching him get pumped up. So he's been working on a lot of stuff that I don't know if John knows all about yet, but he's going to find out. So without further ado, he's going to be fighting Mr. Ian Blanding out of Fight For Us Zenith Jiu-Jitsu.
Well, lucky for us, we have Ian on the phone who is, oh, wow. Ian, you are already starting the intimidation tactics. Welcome to the Grappling Hour, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm super good, man. Well, congratulations on getting this match. How are you feeling right now hearing your coach talk and also your teammate who will soon be your competitor?
Oh, I feel great hearing Coach talk, especially hearing his MMA aspirations. That's always I think he's only shared that with a couple of us, so it's good to hear him put it out publicly. As for John, first of all, he stole my compliment to you from when we were back, in the debrief. I told you were looking thin. The first thing he does is steal my compliments. So just like he steals my moves, he's stealing my compliments.
So hold on. Let's be very clear here. I just love that this was a race just to be like, well, I mean, Raph's less fat. So thank you for that, everybody. I do feel good about it. But hold on. Let me unmute you here, John. What were you saying?
What were you saying, John?
Nothing. I didn't say anything.
Sorry, it's hard to see you with the sun in the background.
So Ian, now that we have everybody on the call here, you've been waiting this whole time and you've heard, yes, thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. That's very nice. But you heard so many pleasantries being spoken here between coach and student, but you're also a student to this coach. So how do you feel? How is this even working? So hold on, Greg, are you coaching them? Are you neutral? Are you Switzerland? What's happening? Are they putting you above a cage, like above the whole thing? Like what's going on here, sir?
So technically, and I've gotten yelled at in the past at tournaments by other black belts, higher rank, but typically when two teammates fight, there's no coaching, If you guys get to the finals, there's typically no coaching by the coach, because essentially, who are you going to coach for, right? You yell at them all the time on the mat anyway, so they know what to do. But no, as far as I know, I'm not coaching this one.
Okay, so you're off duty on this.
I'm off duty on this one.
The idea is that he's going to ref it.
Oh, so you're even more involved here. Okay, these keep taking turns more and more here.
Yeah, so he's going to know if things aren't going the way they should, meaning two people aren't putting in the work they need to for the veterans, and he's going to kick us both in the ass and tell us to step it up.
Man, this is just full of shocks and turns at every single level. Let's start nice, though, first. So, Greg, what can you tell me about Ian in terms of, do you remember the first time he entered, your reel? What's the first class memory you have of him?
Ian was a little bit different than most white belts that come in. He had a background in interviewing a lot of fighters. He's got more knowledge as far as statistics. I mean, he knows more about jiu-jitsu and who's doing what than most anybody I know, and he came in that way. So he had a firm knowledge background of what was going on, and he had the intent to come and train. And ever since Ian started, he's he's did exactly what our coach Robert Drysdale tells us to do. You come in, you put your head down, your ass up, you work, and you don't talk shit. You don't ask questions. You don't ask for special treatment. You come and train, and that's how Ian came in. He came in ready, eager, and willing to learn. And it's been awesome, like I said, to watch him grow. And now he's instructing at our gym. So he came in a little bit different. A lot of people come in with, egos. Oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to that. Or they come in completely petrified. He came in, focused, ready to go. I'm ready to learn this. And it was pretty cool to watch him. So,
Ian, what do you remember about Coach Greg the very first time that you saw him?
I remember it vividly because it was the first time I walked into class. You know how most jiu-jitsu gyms work. They're like very hungry for sign-ups, and they think they see like a new person come in and they can get them the gi and they can get them to sign up to a 2-year contract and all that stuff. He came up and he shook my hand, and then he just walked away because he had 2 students that he was helping. And he just sat there, and I don't want to say ignored me because that's not what happened, but he pretty much told me I could wait, and he spent 25 minutes with 2 students like breaking down the position they were in. And that's when I knew I was like, I got to train with this guy. Like, if he's more hungry to help his students than he is to just like pull me in and get me all signed up and sell me some dreams that I'm going to be a UFC champion, then that's the type of person I want to be around. That's the type of person I want to learn from. So that was my first experience. First class was great. A lot of intensity, a lot of like heavy metal, bang, bang jiu-jitsu, which was like not exactly what I thought jiu-jitsu was, but it's kind of what I needed. I needed that like that push for intensity, and that's like what I've been chasing ever since. Like that drive of just like getting the move of the night, going and implementing what we learned, and just progressing each night.
Okay, so I'm going to come back to everybody here because we can't leave this just sitting out there. What happened here? So what happened to this pinky? Because when people preview these stories, your pinky looks like it's 4 caterpillars all stuck in one part of your body. Yeah, yep, I see it now. Yep, definitely looks like several different marbles have been stuck and inflated into that pinky. So what exactly happened, John?
So I had an opponent drop out. So by the way, let me just say, Ian train for every single fight that I've had in with Randy. Okay, the leg lock that I finished Jeff Carson in 35 seconds, I learned from.
Finally, I couldn't get the post-fight speech credit, but I got the credit years later. Thank you so much.
So Ian taught me that leg lock entry about a week before. We drilled it, and he's like, it's always going to be there if you get in a bad position. I did it. I finished him in 45 seconds. Unfortunately, it put him in the hospital, so you should pay for that, but that's okay. It's all right. But the point is, Ian has been an integral part of my training, my motivation. When he wasn't coaching me with Greg, he was donating his time at the veterans events, seating people, running the VIP party. So this guy's homegrown too. I think he's arrogant as fuck. So I don't agree with Greg. I think when he's on the mat, he's arrogant as fuck. I love him to death. I think he's the first one to tell you he does no wrong. And I think it's always his fucking way. He broke my finger in Texas. Now, granted, I did try to throat choke him, which is completely legal. It's complete, right? Cover the mouth. You can one-hand choke. I tried to do that. So he responded with grabbing a set of fingers and breaking one of them. And that fight went to a draw. It's on YouTube. He just sent me the link earlier today if you want to watch it. Pretty nasty fight, but he's the most loving family guy in the world. He's the best training partner in the world. He's one of my best friends. But on November 2nd, live from the Las Vegas Strip, when we step in that fucking cage, he's never been in a cage. If he has, he did it as a photo op at a UFC fucking expo. He didn't do it fucking as a real fighter. So he's going to step in that cage, and he's going to feel, when he hears that pin drop, he's going to know that across the cage is not John, his training partner. It isn't John, the nice guy who's out here raising money, getting Botox. Thank you. I'm just stealing your thunder because I know you were going to go there. He's the guy who's going to fucking go out on his own fucking sword, and I'm going to fucking finish him. And he's going to finish me, and we're going to finish each other for the veterans. That's why we're doing it. So I'll just leave it there. This isn't about me, even though I tried to make it about me. Clearly, this is about Ian. So I'll pass it back to Ian.
All right, Ian, what is your response to all of that?
Are you intoxicated, man? What's going on, Joe? Why are you all fired up? What's in that cup, bro?
Intoxicated with testosterone.
Yeah, dude, we know. Holy shit, I felt it. I felt it when you boozed me up beforehand in Texas, and then had a Pedro Sauer black belt warm up with me and beat the shit out of me before our match.
I might have tried to give
smiles
you
and
a shot
giggles. You're like,
before.
oh, we're gonna go have a fun one. You fucking slam me on my head, and you're whining about your finger.
So let me ask this as a qualifying question here.
Shit.
When he tells that story, are the details correct? Is that what happened? Was he throat choking you there, and then you just accidentally pulled a few the wrong way? Did you grab more than one digit here? Because these are important factors now that I hear part of the story.
I think it was like a mercy grip or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I just know I let him out of a heel hook. I didn't want to finish him that quick.
You let me out of a heel hook.
Then afterwards, I don't know what happened. I didn't even know the finger dislocated until he showed me afterwards.
Okay, so this is where things get confusing. Did we say that match ended bloody? Because this, to me, does not bleed to my knowledge. So where does the blood happen?
Well, I had blood out of my ears. I had blood out of my nose. I had blood out of my ego. So I bled in a lot of different fucking places, Raph.
Thank you for that. So, Ian, did you know he was bleeding at that point?
The match was like it was like a tizzy for me. I don't even remember much of it. I just remember the actual match. The before and after was a little fuzzy. We didn't really talk much before the match or like directly after the match. So I don't know. I don't know how John was. I just know it was a good match. It was fun. I got to feel that intensity that John brings when he competes. That's always fun to watch. It was good to feel. I was kind of like, I didn't know how the match was going to go. He was so easygoing beforehand that I thought it was going to be like a flow roll. And then we shake hands and he fucking slams me through the mat. And so after that, it was just kind of a blur.
So this is what I do appreciate about two people who are talking about a match that ended in a draw. If you listen to the stories carefully, there's a lot of like, before I say this was a draw, I want to make sure it's very clear I got these points and I did these things well in both of the stories. So I don't know why we aren't doing more teammates versus teammates for charity, because as it is, this is far more entertaining to me than usual grudge matches of like, oh, why do you guys hate each other? This is like, no, you guys actually love each other. You just occasionally hate things about
He
the
didn't
other
let
people.
go. He didn't let go. I got out. And that's what he's pissed off about. He didn't let go. I got out.
I'm not pissed.
No, but I'm pissed because you said you let me out. You didn't let me out. I got out.
Oh,
That's what I'm fighting.
I'm sorry.
It is a particularly important detail to be like, when I let him out, because I would think, knowing what you do, you're not a person that would do that very often, and especially at a competitive standpoint. So that's something that I've told a few white belts as a little white lie when I'm like, yeah, I got out of that one. Where I'm like, oh God, no, I didn't. That was really.
I mean, you're going against like an old like retiree, and you've like got his heel.
You know what it took? It only took 51 minutes for you to bring up my age. It only took 51 minutes.
It's the elephant in the room, man. I mean, you want a younger guy for a match because you think it's going to be an easy match. So I'll bring up your age. It's okay. You'll be all right.
I literally, when you were born, I think I was already like 30.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
That's nuts.
So let me get this straight here, Ian, because I've heard stories that you kind of trash talk regularly. Is that something we can expect during the match? Because you're kind of lively here. The problem is we just don't get to hear it. So I don't know if this is going to be something that becomes legend or if you are planning to do that. But like, are you the type of person when you're rolling that you'll talk trash, or are you the type of person that's competing and talking trash?
Just the people I like.
Okay.
Like. I don't talk trash to people. I've never trash talked an opponent except for one. His corner was speaking Spanish to him, and I understood what they were saying. And then I said something to him in Spanish. He was like, "Vamos, Tortuga," and he fucking slapped the shit out of me from close guard and hit it from the ref. That's the only time I learned my lesson. It's the only time I ever talked trash in a match.
Twice. Well, then it's twice. That's a lie. So you've already proven on fucking a national podcast that you're a liar. You just lied because you talk shit during our match.
Okay, let me jump in real quick.
Please,
I
go ahead.
fucking T. If
How
we
many
could
lies?
mic these two fucks up, if we could mic them up while they roll, it would be fucking entertaining as fuck. Because
What
that's
I'm
all
saying.
they do when they roll in class. They just talk shit to each other the whole time. The whole time. While they're training. So I can only imagine what this fight's going to be like. If I actually get to ref this, I'm going to have the best seat in the house because I'm going to hear all their shit. I'm probably going to be laughing the whole time.
You
They
know
talk
what?
a lot of shit to each other.
I'm gonna IBJJF fucking throat choke you. I have no problem. I swear to God. I swear
You got
to
a
God.
skinny neck.
I'm gonna cover your
You
mouth
got
and
small
make you
hands.
whisper my name.
I don't know if they're gonna get around this skinny neck.
I'm gonna make you whisper my name. Just not too.
So okay, let me corral this again. I want to be very clear about why this is amazing. And yes, Greg, I'm completely on your side here. If they can give you those Bellator or those PFL glasses where we get the mic on that as well, I think that's the best version of it. Otherwise, production people, hear me now, listen to me later. If you can get a microphone on the lower level of the cage or just slightly above it, I think you can pick that up because as somebody who's done a lot of photography, I hear a lot of stuff, and I'm just saying it's not impossible to do, production team. You're welcome. Let me go back to this, Ian. You did set up something here in saying that he is older, which factual, but does that set up more for you to lose? Because what happens if you lose to the old guy? Like, do you understand the amount of trash talk that then goes back your way in that scenario?
Oh, I don't mind. If I lose to some old guy, it's fine. I mean, we're on to bigger and better things. I've got like, I still compete in the adult division, so I've got like some like 21-year-old roided up Brazilians to worry about, IBJJF. If I lose the old guy, it's fine. It's just a fleeting moment. It's for the troops, man. It's for the troops. As long as they're entertained, that's fine with me.
There we go. That's very good. Okay, so let me ask this. Okay, so John, you basically have not let that pinky go, but you said that he was being very crucial for your warm-ups there. Who do you have as the new version of him? Like, how do you get ready for this
I really
when you don't have
actually,
that guy?
So I'm going to be there on Monday. He's going to say bullshit, but I will be there on Monday, and I'm still going to roll with him. I'm not going to show him the shit that I'm working on. Right? He's not going to know any of that shit. And apparently him and Greg are in cahoots. So I apparently have to find a new gym to train at because I'm totally joking, Greg. But he's got some stuff that he's working on, which is great. And I expect that. I would expect
the only reason I say that, John, the only reason I say that is just because you haven't been there. That's all I'm saying. You haven't been there for a while. So
I've had 3 Botox appointments, so I have not had a chance to. I will be there this week, I promise. But no, I mean that. I mean, he has been. I literally could not have claimed credit for any of 6 of those victories and the one draw that I had in the cage. But Ian has been instrumental in all parts of those, and so I get to fight somebody I look up to. I get to fight somebody who arguably who's more technical than me, arguably just as strong, arguably better cardio, arguably not as good looking, but arguably, he's totally joking.
Lower T levels.
Lower T levels. Thank you very much. Not okay. But arguably somebody who is super amazing. And this guy, Raph, has been involved in the charity since the beginning. So he's been an integral part of this. And we both don't give a shit. Actually, that's not true. I give a shit for 6 minutes. Other than that, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what happens before. We're going to have an after party afterwards. We give a shit what happens in the 6 minutes because we want people to tune in. And I'm not leaving any, he is my friend. He is my compadre. But when that fucking cage door closes, he is nothing more than a target. So everyone's going to watch that shit. Right. But after it's over, he's my brother. He's my brother in arms. And, we're going to get ready for the worlds together. We're going to get ready to go for world championships, all that. This is the guy that's going to help me do that. I'm not going to win a world title.
What worlds are you doing?
What?
What worlds are you doing?
Masters 7 world.
Oh, okay.
It's 100 plus, so it's 100 plus division. But you wouldn't be there because they have an intermission. It's like a 2-hour intermission where we can actually, rub Bengay and stuff on our limbs and stuff. Anyways, different division.
There's only one stand-up comic in this chat, buddy. I think he's in the bottom left.
That's right.
Jesus. Yeah, no,
True.
listen,
That's
dude.
true. Raph is an amazing stand-up comic. It's actually
Thank
true.
you. It's very nice of you guys. Listen, I don't have to write any jokes. This is entertaining. I am the second most entertained person in this whole chat. The one that's the most entertained is the one at the top right, who seems to be all giggles the entire time. Like, Greg, you strike me as a dude with a great sense of humor, but can put on a very serious face. And seeing the delight in your eyes as these two are chirping at each other is truly something to behold here, sir.
Yeah, the cool part about this is they're talking shit, and a lot of people would talk shit like this to raise money and let's create the vibe, and that's all cool. But the reason I'm laughing is because they're not talking shit; they're being serious. Like, this is how they are. Like, I wish I could sit and say, "Oh, this is all bullshit and it's all just to pump hype up and let's sell tickets for the troops." These guys are serious like this. Like, this. Well, I told you, it's going to be fight. When they go to fight each other, they're going to fight each other. They fight each other on the mats in front of the team. I can only imagine what they're going to try to do to each other when they're on cameras and there's lights and people are actually watching. And that's why I'm laughing, is because this isn't some Hollywood scripted shit. This is how they are. And so it's only going to intensify when this all goes down. So if anybody's tuning into this and you guys miss out on this Operation Knockout, you're going to miss out. This is going to be, I know it's going to be great. I'm going to watch these guys try to kill each other, but they're not talking smack. They're going to go after each other, and they do know each other's weaknesses. So that's why I'm laughing, is because I know they're not full of shit. Really.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, here's the nice part, Greg. I'm not a gym owner, but I am one of the coaches. And at the gym that I do teach at, there is a nonsense that we kind of indulge, which is always like, when these guys are chirping at each other, we're like, we are in a gym, gentlemen. Let's never forget that. And then half the time it's just like, well, you wouldn't. It's like, no, we're already taking wagers on who's going to win. Like, we don't care how this goes, but if you're going to do it because we got money on the line. If you're not, we're going out. And
sometimes
that is
class stops, right? And everyone starts watching the match. You know what I mean? Like, oh shit, here they go again.
And then we look at them and we're like, listen, we don't have a no time limit amount of time. We've got IBJJF points. Or if you guys want to do ADCC, that's fine too. But let's make this thing go. So everybody always does that, and we have a great sense of humor. And I think that's what we're getting here. Ian, I want to ask you. John said, in his Gordon Ryan-esque way, he called his shot on what he is going to finish you with. Are you... Well, I mean, he said he's going to throat choke you. So do you want to make a bold proclamation yourself, or do you want to keep those cards to the vest?
Oh, no, I'm just going to go out and see what presents itself. Nothing crazy. I don't want to double down and commit to anything.
Well, funny you say that, because we did bring up any kind of wager here. Is there any wager between you gentlemen? Because it doesn't have to be financial, but sometimes
just bragging rights. Just bragging rights. I'm never gonna let him live this down.
The wager is that every day we're on the fucking hook, talk a little bit of shit, but we're like, how much money did you raise? What sponsor did you get? What companies are you going after? So we wager back and forth on that, and our talk is really only a couple sentences, because I would say, Raph, if I could just make a quick statement, the reason you don't see more grappling on national TV in these charity events is because they don't raise money. And unfortunately, MMA, I am a retired MMA fighter, right? So I'm speaking from a place where I have some experience in this. It's all about me. I'm an MMA fighter. It's all about me. It's not about fucking selling tickets. It's not about doing anything for something bigger than yourself. And I think Ian and I both understand that if we can raise $50,000, $60,000 in 5 years in a grappling match, what does that open up for other people? And it's, if I just went to 10 people I knew, I'm just making this up. If I went to 10 people I knew and said, can I get $100 for the veterans? It's tax deductible. Can you skip date night? Can you skip date night and give me $100 for the veterans? And if more people would do that on these cards, these charity event cards, we'd see more grappling events. Look, I'm going to announce it here because I know I talked about it before. I'm officially retiring from the event. I'm still going to compete in IBJJF and all this. This is my last Operation Knockout event. I'm still on the board. I'm still going to be involved in fundraising, but I'm retiring this year. But who's going to come in next year and raise money? Who's going to come in with a commitment? Ian is coming in with a commitment. People like Ian, people who give a shit about our men and women in uniform. And that's the people we need. People who believe that jiu-jitsu, fighting, charity is about something more than us. And those are the people that are going to do it. And Ian's that person. Ian's the future of this sport. Ian's the future of this stuff. So that's just my diatribe in a minute.
Well, thank you for that. I mean, again, another shocking statement here. I didn't know that you would be fully committed to stopping. That's an interesting case because. So hold on. Does the board know that? Because if the board gets the vote, I feel like
there's a discussion I have with the board. The board's in complete support. It frees me up more time to do the fundraising piece, right? So I've been able to raise this amount of money, but now I can focus more on corporate sponsors. I can do that. I can align 2 matches. I can put Ian in with other people next year. I can put Greg in, coach versus coach, which is something I'd love to be able to do, by the way. Coach versus coach. I don't think we'd ever see it.
Greg's like, oh, is that what we're doing now?
Well, I mean, I think it would sell tickets, but I don't think people are going to do it because coaches don't want to put themselves on the line. With that coach, steps on the fucking mat every IBJJF tournament. You don't see coaches do that. They get their black belt, they win 1 world title, and then you never see their ass on the IBJJF circuit again. That guy right there just competed in the Worlds. That guy right there just competed in the national championship. So he's still a coach who puts his shit out on the line. So I think that shit would sell. But it's time for me to step away. I think people are tired of my bullshit diatribes. They're tired of my selfies. I know I'm tired of my selfies. I'm completely tired of my selfies. And so this year I get to focus on Ian, Greg, and Drysdale and other people. And it's time for me to step into the shadows and have a bigger contribution. So this will be my last time stepping on the mat, or in the cage rather.
So my main motivation for accepting this is like thinking of it like as an intervention. John's a competitor at heart. He really loves this stuff. And I don't want him to leave on a loss. So if I can hand him that, I know he's not going to want to leave on a loss. So if I can hand him a loss, I know he'll be back next year. I want John to keep competing.
Not happening in this organization. I know we talk a lot of shit, Raph. We say it every year. But I am officially retiring from the organization. I'm going to still compete. I might slide to Utah, fight under Steelfish where I started, right? Where I started my MMA roots and so do some grappling. I'll still be in the IBJJF circuit. In the Master 7, if anybody wants to meet me there. But other than that, I think the time has come to open it up. And by the way, if I could, Raph, let me just give a real quick plug. One of the people that I'm super excited about, and Greg and Ian, if you give me just 2 seconds, somebody who I'm associated with, his name's Mighty Mouse, but he has a son. His name is Cash. He's 53-3. He's won national title, ADCs, he's won everything. He's going to be one of the intermissions, and he's not an intermission. Like, he is basically cutting through everyone, and he's 14 years old. He fought in the one state that you can actually have MMA fights when you're 14. He went and fought at the Hendo, Hendo, out in Colorado, and beat an opponent in 34 seconds. So this kid is going to be unstoppable, and he's going to be our first, I'm not going to say intermission, he's going to be our first fight. But he's 53-3, and he's 14. Like, this is the future, and these are the people we need to spotlight. They don't need to see another old guy in there. We need to see people like Ian, maybe give him a little Botox, some SpongeBob muscle, and we're going to get him
crack, baby. Don't need it.
We're getting him. So, but yeah.
Well, that's great information. I look forward to seeing that young man get platformed. But I do want to say, without creating stakes and saying that you guys weren't going to put a wager on this, it looked like Ian was trying to do the reverse wager, which is, well, if I win, you have to keep competing, which is, by the way, the most absurd standard to put up there. It's like, I want to hand you a loss so that you have to come back next year and raise even more money, where I'm like, Ian, come in a little closer here. Sometimes when you make it to the old age, you kind of have stuff to do other than this. Now, I know it's absurd, okay? I'm just saying, like, sometimes when people are like, yo, are you going to roll today? And I'm like, no, I got laundry today, bro. You going to roll today? No, I got bills to pay, bro. Like, I got stuff to do. Like, I think sometimes you get to an age where you're like, hey, listen, I know I can still compete. it's the build of the competing that does suck as you get older. And I don't want to spoil things for you, but hashtag spoiler.
Thank you for the spoiler. I think I'm starting to feel exactly what you're talking about, Roth, but I know John well enough. I know he's got the fire. He's trying to extinguish the fire. Remember that story at the beginning where he's talking about how he wanted to quit at brown belt and all that? We're at this phase right now. We're at the want to quit phase, and we're just going to push him and just keep going. Keep going.
And if I could chime in too, he's not tired of his own selfies. Just look at his fucking Instagram. It's fucking all over there. You got Ian in the gym grinding every day, and you got John in fucking Cabo with a fucking drink in his hand. I'm just saying.
With a fucking novel as a caption, the verisimilitude of the incredulous nature of man is the...
I'm just jealous.
It's not the incredulous nature of man. It's the incredulous nature of mankind, but thank you. You were close.
Nothing kind happening on November 2nd, baby. Nothing kind coming your way, buddy.
Nothing. I swear to God, I'm gonna slap the shit out of you.
I thought I was the arrogant one. I thought I was the arrogant one. This guy can do no wrong on the mat. Blah blah blah. Oh, but by the way, he showed me how to fucking destroy this guy's knee in 34 seconds.
Just so you know, when I come in on November 2nd and that fucking pin drops, you're gonna be terrified. And if you wet yourself, I want you to wear the panties that I wear, the old mini panties. Because you're going to wet yourself. A little bit of tinkle. Don't wear white shorts. Don't wear white shorts because you're going to tinkle. And when I walk around the cage, and I snap the shit out of you before we start, then it's going to start. When they ring that bell, shit's going to happen. Greg's going to fucking keep us like two dogs.
What did I sign up for?
Yeah, I don't know what you signed up for.
I thought we were doing jiu-jitsu. I like jiu-jitsu. I didn't know it was gonna be a fight to the death. There's gonna be children at the event, John.
Hold on.
No kumite. No, I didn't say kumite. I never said kumite. I
want to take a moment here to maybe figure out if we can right or wrong. So let's say that John submits you with a heel hook. If he credits you in the post-fight speech, does that kind of wash it out? Like, are we good again?
All I want is my credit. That's all I want is my credit. No one gives me the credit.
No, hold on, Ian. Did you ever tell him, hey, man, I really wish you would have given me some credit there? Or was this the first time you've told him that?
No, us having to carry that guy out of the ring was honestly all the credit I needed. That was wild.
It was good.
I was just like, yo, it works. Holy shit. And he listened for once. He never listens to his corner.
And don't try to wrist lock me because I know Greg, coach, is teaching you wrist lock. In all
his 60 years, he's never followed a game plan, and he finally did, and it worked.
John keeps his hands down. Greg's going to teach him little wrist locks, and that shit's going to work. When I got my hands on your throat and I'm choking you in closed position.
Yo, chill.
None of that shit's going to work.
Hey, John, just do it with the other hand. I don't want your pinky to get hurt again, okay?
That's fair. That's a very good thing to look out for. So, Greg, I don't envy you for the next 5.5 weeks or so, but I would tell you, I don't know if I was in your position, if I could refrain from doing the following, because sometimes I do this with my lower belts. Sometimes I just will teach one thing and then I go up and teach the reverse version of it, just for my own, let's see this science experiment work. So if they happen to be at the same class, I don't know how you wouldn't be playing this up and being like, these are great finishing mechanics. I would do this here, and then go do the opposite to the other one.
Yeah, so the crazy part about it is they train a lot together, so they kind of already know each other's game, but it makes for good sense and good gamemanship to show some counters to what they're going to do to each other, which is not a bad thing, right? That's how we level up. Is if you get really good at something and no one knows how to get out of it, then you can't get better at it, right? So I'm sure I'm going to have to show some defense on both of their games to each other on the side, which is fine. I don't think it's biased. I think it's going to make them both better. If one goes for one thing and the other able to get out of it, then good. Then it's going to be an exciting match. So, but there shouldn't be too much of that because realistically, these guys already know each other well, and they're going to go after each other how they know. The cool part about it is they both know what's coming, right? It's not like they don't know what's coming. They know what the other one's going to do. and they know each other's tells. They know each other's, their weaknesses, and when they get gassed, when they don't get gassed, when they start talking shit. Yeah, Ian gave up one already. John, when John's in his head, he starts doing this shit. And he's like, he's confused. That's just a tell of John. So he does this. That's how you know you got John on the ropes. Is in the middle of the roll, he starts doing this shit. You're like, he's done. I got him. But
wait, does that work for poker too? Because now I just want to know that. Because if that's the case,
I don't know.
A very different
I've never
world.
played poker with him, but I bet it is. I bet it's the same shit.
Listen, dude, I always tell people this. Sometimes I have rolled with people and they have unwittingly given me their poker tell. And I go, oh, see, you're not going to get submitted, but I will take your money later. I will happily. Thank you.
Right.
Good to know.
Right.
Having said that, though, yes, I think you're in a good place. But Greg, can I give you another little small idea, if you would?
Please.
Okay, so if you're reffing this thing, sometimes a referee is in charge of saying action or you're stalling. Can you do that with the trash talk? Like if they've been quiet for too long, can you be like, guys, I need to hear more. I need to hear more right here.
I'll keep that in mind for sure, but I don't think we're going to have that problem, as you can see. You know what I mean? But if I got to rile them up, I'm sure I can, because I'll just dig at both of them. I know how to get underneath both their skin.
I literally just touched my nose. I literally just.
Yep. See? He's already in his head right now. He's in his head.
In your head.
So let me do the quick version of this. Ian, since we didn't get to ask you the formative question on this show, how did you get started in jiu-jitsu? We heard a little bit about your story via Greg, but please tell us a little bit about how we found you in jiu-jitsu, sir.
The simplest answer was when Frank Mir knee-barred Brock Lesnar. That was like when I was convinced jiu-jitsu worked. Like I started karate when I was 5, got into boxing in middle school, and then right around like high school, I was like, I thought wrestling and jiu-jitsu, like they obviously work, but I figured like striking, Chuck Liddell was huge at the time. Rampage was huge at the time. You see these like high level strikers in the UFC. And then I really started watching like, Pride and things like that. And then I saw Frank Mir fight Brock Lesnar and I'm like, dude, Brock's going to kill this guy. I knew Frank, but I just didn't think jiu-jitsu could stop somebody like Brock. And I'm not a huge guy myself. And so when Frank just absolutely tore his knee apart, I was like, man, I got to learn that. And so I was living in Korea at the time. There was a little judo academy like nearby, and I would just go to their like their open randori like every Wednesday, and I did a little jiu-jitsu, and I absolutely sucked at it, and it was crazy and hard. And then trained a little bit at Vanderlei's. I did a lot of boxing and kickboxing, and I would just stay around for the jiu-jitsu class here and there, never take it too seriously. And then I realized that like 22, 23, getting hit in the head a few times a week is not like the best for longevity, and you feel like crap when you have to go work your job. And so Drysdale was always somebody I really respected, and I really liked his jiu-jitsu. So when I saw he opened up a new academy on our side of town, I went to go check it out, and that's when I ran into Greg, saw him teaching. I put on the gi, and like first night, absolutely fell in love with it. And had a little training prior. So I was like catching arm bars on my first night, and like I thought I knew what I was doing, and then you realize like, oh no, you just got a little lucky going against another new white belt that doesn't really know how to defend, and then I love attacking challenges. I love problem solving, all the same stuff every jiu-jitsu guy says. And so my addiction to it has just been finding new problems to solve, new challenges, new moves, new techniques, new ideas, all that stuff. So it's a never-ending cycle of learning, and I really enjoy learning. So that's just my small jiu-jitsu spiel.
Well, we're glad it's found its way to you in that, of course, you got to see that jiu-jitsu works in a pretty high profile match. So that's always what we hope for as jiu-jitsu nerds, is when we see those people that's like, oh, they figured out it works. So
I literally could not believe it when I saw it. Like, because Brock was just giving him the business, and then he just pulls a knee bar out of nowhere, and it was like a slick setup, and it just looked so powerful, and it was a legit tap from Brock. Like I was just like, wow, I didn't seeing jiu-jitsu like as a casual watcher of the UFC and Pride and stuff like that. I can understand how the average watcher just kind of turns and goes and gets a beer when somebody's on the ground. Even now, people complain about guys like Islam and Khabib, but they're absolutely amazing. But when you see it at that, such big guys moving so well, I was like, man, there's something there. And then when you feel it, when you go to the gym and you actually have some like 3-stripe white belt absolutely destroy you on your first night, they feel like a black belt to you, and then you roll with a black belt. You're like, oh my God, like I don't know what I don't know, and there's so many levels to this. And like even now as a black belt, you go against like a competitive blue belt, and it's like, God, this guy's so good. Like what do I need to learn? What do I need to like equip myself with to make myself better?
Yeah, totally fair. And I mean, the nice part is, I think everybody, as they come in, they usually bring a little bit of a different perspective. So I'm pretty sure that's what you did at the time, where you go, oh, I'm catching people, but sometimes people don't catch people initially. It doesn't matter if they're same level or not. It's still pretty cool that you found it, and you found like, oh, there's levels to this, but I'm going to figure it out for myself.
I found out immediately because my first night, I trained a little previously, no gi, and so I caught a female who was a blue belt at the time in an arm bar, and I felt like I was the shit, right? And her husband saw this, and her husband trains with us, and he's an absolute killer. I mean, this guy, like when he was a white belt, like choking out like world champions, absolute killer. Like Hibaldo, crazy coach knows, crazy grips. He sees me do this, and I'm pretty sure she showed him, and so I went with him the next round, and he was a blue belt at the time. Oh my God, oh my God, he wasn't rough with me. He didn't hurt me. He just like absolutely mauled me in the most polite way. And I was like, man, this guy could have ended my life if I wanted, or if he wanted rather. Like that's like even the first night, it was just like, oh my God, there are so many levels and layers to this game that I'm just not picking up. It's not who can catch what, and it's not just moves. It's an entire art form, and it's an entire series of moves that you have to learn.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, let's start circling here, but I figured we're going to do the following. So this is the format we're going to start to close out on. I feel since both of you are here, and it just makes sense, I thought that I would start with putting kind of the camera on both John and on Ian to let them say their piece, so that myself and Greg can be in the background and just laugh our ass off. So the way this will work, gentlemen, is I'm going to put on 1 minute on my clock. You will each get 1 minute to say whatever you think is going to happen to each other, and not in the form of this Brady Bunch-esque 4 little block here. You guys are going to be put on camera. I'm going to start with you, and the camera's going to go to John first, at which point I will let you know when you are near 30 seconds or 5 seconds. So we will now switch to that camera. You both are on it. I'm going to go ahead and start with you, John. John, you have 1 minute. Time begins now.
Yeah, I would say part of this sport and part of my role on November 2nd is to show the utmost respect and the utmost love for my competitor and my brother. And my brother is Ian Blanding. And there is nothing more disrespectful than give him a fucking half-ass bullshit Jake Paul fucking fight, and he's not going to get that from me, and he knows that, and he's not going to give it to me. I love him dearly. He's a great person. He's a great friend of mine. But on November 2nd, 2024, live from Las Vegas Strip, he's going to experience what decades of MMA fighting, cage fighting, jiu-jitsu is going to do. And I love him to death, but he's not going to get a fucking free pass. So and I know it's going to make us both better in the end. And I love him dearly. So I just want to say everything I do is out of love.
And that's 1 minute perfectly. Well done there, John. That was
Thank you.
That was impromptu level for kids that I used to teach speech to. I couldn't even get people to do that. All right, we're going to go to Ian. Ian, 1 minute. Your time begins now.
I just wanted to say feelings mutual with John. Love the guy to death. Awesome guy. He's been there for me since I was a blue belt. You know, he's been around the gym. He's been around the valley. High-level competitor in every aspect he's gone to, whether it was striking, jiu-jitsu, MMA. I wouldn't take this match if I didn't think John would be a good match. I joked about his age, but I know he's a grade A competitor. I know that he brings it every time, and he's entertaining to watch, and I've competed against him prior. Very entertaining to compete against. I had the time of my life doing it. I have the time of my life training with him. I appreciate everything he does, from his charitable ventures to, you know, just texting me and saying hi every now and then and checking up on me. John's a really, really solid guy. I'm really looking forward to having fun on November 2nd. And bringing the heat, having a great match, entertaining people, and most importantly, raising some money for some troops and some families of troops that really, really kind of go unappreciated in our society. And one person that doesn't not appreciate them is John. He is always doing something, always spending his year circling around to this time and making sure that Operation Knockout is a huge success, not just for him and his image and his persona, but for the people that it directly benefits. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I really appreciate him having me on this card.
That's what's up. See, look, listen, guys, this is going to be great. You guys want to be there November 2nd, but I'm also going to do one more round where everybody can plug what they need to plug. So, gentlemen, please tell us where they can find you. And I will tell you guys this. I will likely see you guys in passing, because I believe the event on November 2nd is when I'm going to be doing preparations over for the PGF. So I may just see you guys around. I will definitely be in Vegas, but I'm going to be probably at the venue getting stuff ready. So I will definitely keep my eyes and ears out, and we will shout you guys out, win or lose, no matter what happens on one of our preview shows when we are doing those. So for right now, why don't we go ahead and start? Greg, please tell people where they can come find you, they can come train with you, and any other shout outs you would like to give, sir.
Yeah, so we train out of Drysdale Fight for Us, Las Vegas, Nevada, Centennial Hills. We are Team Zenith affiliated. I'm still very close in contact with my coach, Robert Drysdale. Like I said before earlier, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be where we're at. So we're a huge part of that team. We try to cross train with each other as much as we can, and so nothing but love for Robert. And like I said, I wouldn't be in jiu-jitsu or have a gym if it wasn't for him. So huge shout out to him and the team. And, you know, if you guys are out there watching this, as you can see in the background, I got a flag. Other side. Sorry, I'm the opposite way here. That flag is was on my father's casket when he was buried not too long ago. He was a 20-year veteran. I lost a nephew in Afghanistan. So the military is huge at us. If you come to my gym, we have all the flags hung up for all the different branches of the military. So this is huge to my heart to be able to be a part of this for Operation Knockout. So like they talk about, if you can come to the event, if you can donate, please do it. That's why I'm involved with it. It's dear to my heart. It literally is part of my family. I've lost family in war, and I've had family serve this country. So, and I see veterans all the time that I work with. So if you guys can please make this out or sponsor. If you guys don't want to come to watch the show, sponsor a veteran to come watch it. It would mean the world to them. So thanks again to John Valentine and Ian both. It's an honor to be their coach. It's an honor to be involved with them, and it's an honor just to be a part of all this. So thank you, guys.
And thank you so much, Greg. We appreciate your time, and we appreciate, you know, your family and their commitment to service. And we also want to say my condolences to you and your family for your recent loss. But I know that flag well. I have one from my father as well. So it is very nice to see, and thank you for doing that, sir. All right, let's go to Ian. Ian, do us a solid. Give us any shout outs that you would like to, and let the people know where they can come train with you, coach. Oh, I muted you. That's on me. That's all you now.
You're all good. Same place as Greg. You can come train with me at Drysdale Fight for Us. John, if you ever want to attend one of my classes, you know where to find me. You can find me on Instagram at iBland. And once again, big thank you to John for having me on this event and everybody involved with the event. Been a military brat. Entire family's in the military. I have tons of my friends, close associates in the military. So something I really hold close to my heart, and I really appreciate John doing this for everybody. And also my sponsor, Bagel Cafe on Buffalo and Westcliff. If you need anything for Rosh Hashanah coming up, feel free to stop by and say hi.
Hold up. You got a bagel place as your sponsor, sir? How did you score that?
I'm employed by them. It's great.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. It's split.
It's easy to convince them.
Hey, I'm being honest here. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, how'd you score a bagel sponsor? That's really dope. Good for you, man. Like half of us, whenever we're doing jiu-jitsu stuff, we always got to be like,
I bleed for these bagels, Ralph. I bleed for these bagels.
I was about to say, when I saw your hand there and then I saw the tag on the other side, I was like, do we want to cut that off before we start rolling here, sir?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just cut out a quick care.
I know it's clear there. I just thought I was like, I don't know if I'm going to put it fully on blast, but when I kept seeing you you know what it is? It's that mid-interview, you just forgot. You're like, and another thing, let me tell you a little bit about this. And I just go, my man, I think you're still giving away the goods.
Thank you for the professionalism, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, I wait.
Oh, I can see John, the sun's down.
Hey, you know what though? The lighting right now is great. It is superb. No, don't do that. You don't need to listen. This dude's seen too many Burt Reynolds. Playgirl spreads right
he
now.
loves his selfies.
You know what? Hey, listen,
Loves his selfies.
he has a great house right now. He should be able to enjoy it. I'm not going to say anything like that. John, I'm going to put the camera on you, sir.
Sure. Let me. There's only 5 people. I'm going to do it really quick. I'll do it in a 45-second manner. First and foremost is family and friends. I want to thank all the family and friends who stand behind me, my significant other, the person who makes the meals, who does all that stuff, and the family who stand by you and push you to go to the gym. Right. The next one is my gym family: Robert Drysdale, Greg, Ian, everyone who represents what jiu-jitsu represents for the right reasons and all those things. The third is the organization, Tuff-N-UFF, the largest amateur organization in the world, who puts on the infrastructure for this. It's a pleasure to sit on the board with Vinny and the rest of the crew, Val Haney, Scott Haney, that make all the magic happen, that put all the things together. Randy Couture, who's a mentor to all of us, who selflessly gives his time and money to do that. And the 2 other people, I'm going to end it on the last one that's most important, is Raph. Raph, thank you so much for being a grassroots supporter, not only of grappling, but of things that are bigger than all of us. You and I have been in the trenches when I was raising, $500. You had me on your podcast when I won a first world championship in 2017. You were great, and you had me on your show, and I never forgot it. Your hospitality. Please go to Raf's page, donate if you'd like his platform, if you'd like the things that he does. Please support him as well. Grassroots effort, get grappling back on that. And the last one is most important. The reason why we're here, the reason why we have this podcast, is for our men and women in uniform. Please do one of the following: make a donation, skip a cup of coffee, skip a date night, show up for our men and women in uniform who provide the blanket of freedom by which we all sleep. And I'm really proud of all our men and women in uniform. And November 2nd, we're getting an opportunity to thank you for all that you do. And I guess I probably went over the 45 seconds, but that's my list.
Oh no, this was not a time version. Everything else was a time version, because I figured the trash talk only really works for about a minute. Plugs, I don't care. Plugs take all the time you want. It's more so when I start looking there and you let...
If anybody has any questions on how they can make a difference, make a donation, how they can buy seats for a veteran, like Greg said, send a veteran, send 5 people to go with their families. It's an all ages show. Send a veteran, their family, and a couple kids to go to the event. What a better way? If you live in Wisconsin, you can't go to the event, say, I want to DM me and DM Ian or Greg, and we'll walk you through on ways that you can sponsor the veterans. But I really appreciate the venue, the opportunity. Raph, you've been an integral part of this journey with me, and I think I speak for all 3 of us when we say we love you. We love your show.
Thank you very much, guys. That's very nice of you, and thank you all for your incredible work. I have to say, this is always the easiest lifting to do when everybody is having fun and you can tell that the match is contagious to want to see it, because yeah, we can sell grudge matches day in, day out, but I like this. This is fun to me. This is fun watching 2 people that care so deeply about something. They're willing to put their teammate-ness aside and actually just come together for a good charity. So I know you guys are going to put together something great. I cannot wait to see the result of it. And I know win or lose, the real winners will obviously be Operation Knockout. So congratulations to everybody here involved. I'm going to close up and I'll say bye to all the gentlemen off air here, but my thank you to everybody here. I appreciate your time. Ladies and gents, if you are watching right now and you're going to close out with us, a couple quick reminders. First and foremost, like, share, subscribe. This is a good one, so share this one to get the message out there for this very incredible event on November 2nd. But if you don't know what you want to comment on here, do me a solid. In the comment section, tell me the worst roast you have ever told one of your teammates, because I heard some of them here and they weren't bad, but just saying, there may be a day when you need to do it for charity. So listen, it's for a good cause now. And if you guys like our work here, go on over to patreon.com/grappling hour. $5 a month. You see our interviews 30 days before anybody else. And for a few extra dollars, you get to see extra bonus content not available anywhere else, including tape studies and a segment where people roast my competition footage. It's very fun. I think you guys enjoy laughing at my expense. So there's that. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, find us on there. Rate and review. That does make a huge difference. And of course, you can find us on our Discord at Grappling Hour. And one last thing, check this out. Do you guys like this though? I like it. It's a Grappling Hour t-shirt. We're going to be selling these and hoodies again for this cold season. A lot of you guys want to stay warm if you're grappling. You can find order for that at rapasparza.com/merch. All right, ladies and gents, that's going to do it for us here at the Grappling Hour. We have a lot of great and fun stuff. We're about to celebrate our 7th season, the beginning of our 7th season of the Grappling Hour. Yeah, you've seen a lot of seasons of Verbal Tap, but this is the 7th season of this version of our show. So we've been doing a lot of stuff. We're going to bring on some good guests. So keep a lookout here at our YouTube page for more in the near future. But ladies and gents, that's going to do it for us. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.